My guest today is Lisa. She had a spiritual awakening after being touched by the ghost of her dead mother. She's going to share that with us today and more. Lisa, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing good. You can start at whatever point you feel is most relevant to the story, and you can take it from there.
Okay. I would have to say it was probably recently after my mom died because my parents died a year apart. But right after my mom died, I noticed I had started experiencing paranormal stuff. Well, I was going through a divorce at that time and I was leaving my husband. I left my husband and I was staying at somebody else's house to get away from him. During that time, I had a dream. And in the dream, my mom and dad were talking to me. I woke up from this dream and they were staring at me. They were literally like, I'm laying in bed and I could see them plain as day. And they looked like they did when I was about 7. They both looked probably about in their 40s. They were both smiling. They were together. Then my mom, she used to do this thing with her nails. And she did that to me. She like touched me. And when she did that, I freaked out. I jumped up and I said, Mom, Dad, please leave me alone. And at that point, my life has changed forever.
Hmm. How so?
And I believe well, I can't be in relationships, obviously, because I see through people. And I wish I didn't have to be honest with you, because sometimes I just wish I was stupid, you know?
Hmm.
But I I see through people. Sometimes I can tell their moods around me. I can tell people who don't like me. It's almost as if I can read their mind. Almost. I don't try, but I can definitely sense, being around people how they feel about me and stuff.
Would you say
And
that
I can tell people, I can feel things from people. I might not know what's going on, but they can lie to me and I'll see right through it.
would you say that that your mom came and visited you to give you that ability for a specific reason?
Protection. Yes.
What do you have an idea of why that may be? Do you think maybe you were possibly heading in the wrong direction and she was trying to maybe
I wouldn't leave my husband. We fought all the time. And it's like she gave me this ability to be able to move on from people, to see through people. She gave me like she had this thing when she was alive. She was very strong, and I feel like she gave that ability to me.
hmm, where do you think you would be right now if that hadn't happened?
Like, if I try to date anybody, if they try to lie to me, I know it, and usually it comes out I'm right.
Comes out on what? I'm sorry.
Usually when I'm on about, I'm usually right about my intuition. It turns out I'm usually right because like I've dated guys and then, we broke up or whatever, and I've asked my daughter, was I right? And I say, yeah, to an extent you were right.
Oh.
Because that feeling, well, this past year really got bad because I was avoiding my intuition. And now it's had physical effects on me. Like there's no way consciously I can be with somebody that's lied to me, no matter what I do.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
And I feel like that is part of this ability.
Hmm.
And at first I thought, I tried to read cards and stuff. Well, cards are not for me. I've tried for probably 12 years and it's just not for me.
Yeah,
But
that's
I'm very, very much into it, and I'm into watching you guys because I think it's so neat, your
yeah.
gift.
I thought it was
That's
too.
what
That
led
was
me to all this.
yeah. I think that's what brings most people to it. They see it and it looks cool. And I mean, that's how I felt about it. I was like, man, that just looks so cool. I never
Mhm.
wanted to do it actually. So when I got put in that position, I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't being serious. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. So I guess the universe just kind of puts you in the place you need to be in. And that's probably
Yeah.
similar to what happened to you when your mom gave you this ability. Have you thought maybe there might be maybe more to it other than just knowing how to read possible bad relationships? Like, do you think you'd be able to use that to
I
possibly
have
help
to.
people?
I don't know. I don't know how I would, because I don't know enough to be, to really read people or anything. I just know when it comes to me. Does that
What,
make sense?
yeah, yeah. What does it feel like? Like, as opposed to before this happened to you and now, what's the difference? Is it
I didn't know before. I couldn't tell. I just went on what they said. Now, if somebody lies to me, something jars me. Or if somebody's doing something behind my back, I can feel that shit. Pardon my language. It's like I know when people are lying behind my back and they're lying to my face. And there's people say it's cool and everything to have a gift, but I'm sure you guys know where I'm coming from when it comes to it's not fun to see ghosts
it's not from
unless
what?
you're used to it. To see ghosts and those kinds of things.
Yeah. Do you think maybe you say you've seen ghosts since you was a kid?
Yeah,
Do you think maybe they were
not
trying to
tons.
do you think maybe they were
Yeah,
trying to
that's
give you that ability?
possible. Yes, because think about this. When my cousin died, I was 8. I was 8 and she was 10. And me and my other cousin, which was her brother, we after the funeral, we saw her. We was outside playing and she was waving across the street stop sign. We both saw this. Ran in to tell our parents. We got in trouble over that. So
Got in
yeah, there's
trouble.
been a few. Yeah, because they said because we just left her funeral. We said she's outside. Melissa's outside because we saw her waving.
Huh.
So I mean
Yeah.
that was one experience when I was younger.
Was there any other
But yeah,
experiences?
the house I live in now, I saw the man that built it for the first time. He was just looking. He was leaned over. He was wearing overalls. He was a really tall guy. I woke up out of my sleep. I seen him. I turned back over because that's why I don't sleep with the lights off ever, no more. But he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at my pictures, and he had his hands behind his back, and he's just overdoing that, looking at my pictures. So yeah,
Do you ever try to like talk to them or communicate with them, or do you just kind of shoo them away as soon as you see them?
I think I'm scared. I don't talk to him. I think subconsciously, because in my it scares me.
Well, maybe I'm wondering because if it
I
like
see numbers though.
usually when people say these types of things, there's usually a reason why. I would think. I mean, I really don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but the first thing that comes to my mind is that maybe they're trying to push you in a certain direction, you know? Have you
Yeah.
ever thought about maybe possibly there's something like with this experience that you are, I don't know if you're meant to or you're just able to help other people with maybe?
Um, if it develops more, I would be. But right now, I think it's mostly for me. I don't know how I would be able to help somebody. Be honest.
Like if you saw somebody maybe who was in a relationship or dealing with somebody that was mistreating them, and because I know like that's the position that I'm in because um you've probably heard me tell the story a million times, but like really all I ever set out to learn was the laws of energy. And
Yes.
once I really started learning it and actually attended school, like a mind mastery school to learn the science behind it, now I feel like this fire that burns inside of me to where I see people in situations that they could easily get out of, but it's like
Yeah.
I want to teach you how you manifested that and how to unmanifest it, you know? Like maybe
Yeah.
if you know somebody who keeps attracting people into their lives who are lying to them and, you know, saying, well, there's something about your energy. But you got to be careful the way you phrase it too, because sometimes people get defensive and they get mad. You know, it's like you're not. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but there is something about your frequency that is attracting liars into your life. So if we could get in there and dig in and ask, what is it about my energy that's attracting liars into my life? You know, have you ever maybe thought about that?
Well, most people I've attracted into my life, I've ended up helping some form or another.
Oh, there you go. So maybe it might be some kind of karmic
So I
contract,
mean,
possibly.
yeah, maybe. Because there's been some lessons learned. So I kind of wonder if I'm just meant to help people, you know, not really try to be in a relationship, you know. And these people come to me, you know, and just I feel like I'm meant for something more. I just don't. I think I'm scared of it, to be honest with you. I think I'm really scared of it.
Yeah,
Because
it
when it
is.
comes down to it, it's a scary thing to actually see, you know, what I've seen. And I'm not prepared for that mentally. But I have talked to my mom, you know, not like this, but I asked her, said, please, I want you around, but don't scare me, please. Please give me signs, but don't scare me. And I see the number 20. So that's her. As a matter of fact, it's on this thing you sent me for this video. I'm like, oh hell yeah. the
Did it have the
20,
number
the number
20 in
20.
it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That's my mom's. I connect that with her.
Okay. Yeah,
And I usually
usually
get that number whenever something significant's going to happen. That synchronicity has been with
yeah, it usually is a pretty scary thing whenever we do have like a big assignment here, you know?
me. Mm-hmm.
Like me in the position that I've been put in, it scared the hell out of me. I was scared to death, you know? But it'll get to a point eventually where if we're slacking too far behind, the universe will shove you into a corner. Like, no, I need you here, you know. And then, I mean, we do have free will. We can always back out of it, I
Right.
guess, if we want. But at a certain point, we got to swallow that fear and say, okay, well, what is it I'm supposed to be learning here? You know?
Right.
Have you had any other, like, very recently? Have you had any? When was the last time you saw a ghost or maybe a
That was
being on?
my roommate. Like I said, it was her father that was in my room looking at pictures. There's 3 people that died in the house I'm staying. I've only saw one.
Did you
They've
have
died
any
at,
kind of
at different times. Nobody was murdered.
did you have any kind of communication with them?
No.
They were
I
just
just turned over and he was looking at my pictures and I turned back over because I did. That's the second time I've actually saw that. I seen it with my mom and dad. They were like in my face. He was like looking. I had pictures out on a dresser, and he was just looking at the pictures. That's the first time. So
that's interesting. I mean,
it is
I get an intuitive feeling that
because I wasn't really. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was going to say it gives me an intuitive feeling that you're being pushed in a certain direction, you know?
When I try to tell people about it, they think I'm crazy or that you know, you don't know what you're talking about. I said I don't know if you're lying. I just know, you know, like I don't know, but I know. And, you know, it makes me angry when people call me a liar. Say, because you feel it, you know.
Well, that's why, because I was the same way for the longest time. And that's why me personally, I took a step back and I said, okay, well, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove that I'm not crazy. I'm going to prove, you know, because back long before anybody knew who I was, I used to always talk about the law of attraction, manifestation, you know, and all the people that knew me laughed at me, made fun of me. Oh, he's an idiot. Oh, he's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about, you know, because I've always been a loser. I've always been like a loser. in and out of like homeless shelters, can never find a stable place to live, always working minimum wage jobs, so that everybody looked down their nose at me. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna pull back away from everybody and I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove that I'm not crazy, you know? And then that's when people kind of start to open their eyes, like, oh, well, maybe this person does know what they're talking about, you know? So I'm wondering, do you think that there would be a way that you could try to figure out how to harness this ability, like on command, if you're able to
Mm,
touch? I mean, you physically touched a ghost, or she touched you, and I'm just
yeah, she did.
wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way that you could maybe sit with it and try to overcome that fear and learn how to harness it on command.
That would probably make a difference because I think I subconsciously shut it out, to be honest. I think
Yeah,
a lot of my gift is blocked. I feel that
yeah. What is it?
because
Do
it
you?
scared me so bad. You know what I'm saying? Because after I like woke up and they're still standing there, I'm going, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be here. And that was when it all just went, you know. So,
So, how many experiences like
and
that
I
have
don't
you had?
think
Like,
they want to scare me, but I know they're here. I know they're always with me, and that brings me comfort.
yeah, like in your whole life, can you count how many times it's happened to you altogether?
One, two, four so far. Five,
Okay,
five,
starting when
five
you were a
altogether.
little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And how long ago
Yeah.
was it that you saw your mom and she did that? How long ago was that?
That's been September. That would have been a 2007 when that happened. September of 2007. I don't know the
Oh,
exact date, but yes, that's when all that happened.
so that was a while back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time it happened?
What? The
When was,
last time was
yeah.
about 4 to 6 months ago
Oh,
when the
that,
man came.
so that's pretty recent.
Yes. But I wasn't as scared because he wasn't actually looking at me. He was over looking at my pictures. But yeah, he definitely showed himself to me. So
Did you see him vanish or did you just turn away and look away?
did I see what?
Like
He
did he
was looking at my pictures.
disappear though after you saw him?
No, I covered up. I was scared. I turned over.
Hmm. Well,
It's like I said, when you see something like that, it's scary.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I've had experiences like that before where, well, of
Can
course,
you
I don't,
tell me why they come to me then? Can you tell me why that would happen?
I can't tell you why, but the only thing that I can really do is kind of try to shine a light on the path,
Okay,
because
yeah.
whenever I mean, I have a real strong intuitive feeling that nothing happens by accident. So there's
Yeah,
some
true.
kind of reason, and it feels to me intuitively like you're being pushed in a direction to like. I mean, it could be any number of things. It could be like maybe you could be a psychic medium if you learned how to harness that, you know? Like if you learned how to harness that and
True.
call it in on command, and if there's people who are wanting to
Mm.
communicate with dead loved ones, maybe you could do that for them, something to that effect. Maybe not exactly that.
I think that would be neat. I definitely think that would be neat.
Yeah.
And I have this when that happened with my mom, it also changed. I never hated animals, but I have this weird uh vibe with animals. I can't like talk to animals, but there's a closeness. Like when I look in their eyes, I don't see animals. I see souls. It's weird, but I see something different with animals. I have a connection with them that's different. And as a matter of fact, right now I have 6 black cats.
Hmm.
That's recently came within the last year. So I used to think black cats were bad luck, but I'm finding out now they are protection.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that. I think that's bullshit. I don't think they're bad luck at all. I mean, it's
No, I
probably,
used to think that.
yeah, probably somebody who just had a really shitty life and was trying to find something to blame it on, you know. They
Right.
they say most people who are like real true mystics have connections with cats. Do you ever feel like you're able to communicate with animals?
I don't know how. I feel this really weird connection to them, though, and this has been since my mom touched me too, But it's like I don't understand. It's just like I feel very close. Like it's a different connection than what I've ever felt. I can't explain it.
It's probably
It's like I
soul
don't know if I can
family.
communicate with them or not. I just know that I feel this closeness with them. Like I know I've had animals come out of nowhere just to me.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, usually when people communicate with animals, one of the first things that they notice is they know what the animal wants. You know, like my wife is like
Mm-hmm.
that with our cats. She can, I don't know how she does it, but she'll be like, "This is what he wants," and she's right every time. I'm like, "How do you know that?" She goes, "You can just tell by his body language." I'm like, "What body language? He's just sitting there. He's not doing anything, you know." And I think she has like that kind of telepathic communication with
And
our
it sounds
cats.
like she does.
Yeah.
But they just come to me and it's like I should, it's like I'm close to them, it's like I should know, like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain, but there's a lot that stuff that ain't opened up to me yet, but I know there's a lot down there because I mean, like I said, I can just get peer into people's minds. It's weird.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you normally pick up on when that happens?
How somebody's feeling, if they're feeling suicidal, if they're sad, depressed. I can feel if they're angry, even horrible things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it really sounds like you're being pushed in a certain direction. Usually, whenever somebody's being pushed in a direction like that, what we have to do, from what I've learned in my experience, is we have to like sit with that fear. You know, like if I was in your shoes, what I would be doing is
Face
I'd be like,
the fear, you're right.
yeah, I would be sitting there saying, okay, all right, I'm ready. Show me somebody, and like sit there in the fear and like push through that fear. A good example is this podcast right here. Perfect example. My biggest weakness is talking to strangers. It's my biggest weakness. I'm the biggest introvert in real life.
See,
I'm the Go ahead.
you like I'm talking to you, and it's like your family to me. I mean, it's weird. Like I'm not nervous at all talking to you because I feel like um it's like I'm talking to people who understand me. I don't feel stupid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and like for me in real life, I'm the biggest introvert you have ever met in your life. I don't talk to strangers. I'm
That's me.
like, yeah, and I just kept getting the calling that I have to get over that because my assignment has a lot to do with dealing with people one on one. So that's when I started this podcast. The first few interviews that I did, I was pouring sweat and shaking, you know, but
Wow.
I just had to lean into that fear. And now every interview that I do gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And from what I've learned on my journey, that's what we have to do when the universe is pushing us in a certain direction. That's what we have to do. We have to say, okay, well, obviously you want me here. I don't know what it is, but we're going to get over this fear. And that's the reason, they always say you got to face your fears, and that
That's
sounds
it.
so cliche. We hear that all the
That's
time,
a
but
big fear.
yeah, we hear that
Yeah,
all the time.
I
Go
used to
ahead.
love going ghost hunting,
Oh yeah.
and I used to love it, man. I used to think it was cool. Never really saw much, we spook each other and stuff, but that took a turn when I saw my parents. That whole thing changed. I don't do that now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even play with that because that's real.
Yeah. Back when you used to do it, did you believe that it was real or were you just playing around?
I was always just curious about it. I didn't actually think it was until, like I said, like when I saw the past wasn't as real to me until I saw my parents. Then I knew something was up. When I saw my parents, I knew what I saw in the past, like with my cousin and stuff. All that stuff was real, and I wasn't crazy. So, going into a graveyard, I go to my parents and stuff, like to their grave or whatever. But to like go there and hang out and do the shit I used to do when I was a teenager, no, because I have more respect.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does sound like you're being nudged in a certain direction though. What I would honestly do, and you don't have to, I'm just giving you my little advice as just a regular person. If I was in your
I'm
shoes,
listening.
I would be sitting there like, all right, show me somebody. Let's do it. And I would just deal with it. All right, what's going to happen? What's a ghost going to do? Kill me? Well, if it kills me, it kills me. We're going to find out, you know?
Okay, Rich. Okay, Rich. Be careful. How do I say this without getting haunted, though? Got to be careful how you provoke something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Just ask it. I'm gonna try that though, because now you got me curious.
I mean, I'm not the end all be all. I don't know everything there is to know. I'm just saying if it was me and what I've done on my
Right.
journey, that's pretty much what my path has been. Whenever I'm being pushed in a certain direction, I'm like, okay, well, let's do it then. Because I learned,
Right.
and I learned this when I was homeless. I don't know if you've heard me talk about this, but when I very first went homeless, I was
Mm-hmm.
so crushed and so devastated. And after 3 months of being homeless, I realized I was becoming comfortable with it. And I said, well, if I can become comfortable living under a bridge and eating food out of trash cans, I can become comfortable doing anything. So that's when I started realizing fear will go away if I sit in it long enough. I even overcame arachnophobia. I was so arachnophobic. Like I was one of those people that if I saw a spider, I would scream like an 8-year-old little girl. Oh, people had a field day making fun of me. People somebody saw me encounter a spider, I never got to live that down, you know? And then it bothered me for the longest time. I'm like, okay, well, I can't make all the spiders go away. So I got to get over this fear somehow. And then the
Mm-hmm.
year before my YouTube channel took off, I was working at a car wash. And this car wash was infested with spiders.
Oh Lord.
Infested. I mean, I would buy like 3 big cans of bug spray and I would be killing all these spiders and it wouldn't even do anything. Like there were so many of them. So I said, you know what? I think this is my chance. I would be sitting at that car wash working 11 hours a day, sitting there by myself, surrounded with spiders everywhere. And after about 6 months, it went away. Took about 6 months, but I just sat in it and dealt with it, you know, and it went away. And it's something as cliche as face your fears. You know, we hear that all the time. It's real. It really is true. As long as you're not doing something that endangers your life, I wouldn't recommend, playing around in a pit of king cobras, or something stupid. But
Right.
like whenever we have these little fears that aren't really justifiable, which I don't know, my spider fear I think was kind of justifiable because some spiders can hurt you. But
Yeah.
for the most part, a lot of us we have these little fears that like, why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? It's not whatever this thing I'm afraid of, can it really hurt me? And if I come to the conclusion that I'm horribly afraid of something that's not really going to hurt me, well, I have no business being afraid of that and I have to overcome it. So I'm going to put
Mm-hmm.
myself in it until I'm comfortable with it?
Right.
So who knows though? I mean, there have been a lot of people say that ghosts can attack you, but I wouldn't imagine that your parents would come back to try to harm you?
No. Mm-mm. And the man that actually built the house, I don't think he didn't. I didn't get a scary vibe from him. He didn't try to scare me. He was just looking at pictures, and I thought it was neat. Though it's like turned over. Oh, there's another ghost. Turn back over. But that's
Mhm.
only when. That's why I don't sleep. And maybe I just need to embrace it, like you said, because I won't sleep with the lights off. I'm scared. But you're right. Maybe if I embraced it, then it would definitely change things. Because I'm
We're
sure if I could communicate with them, they would all
Yeah. When the time that you saw the last one, were the lights off?
Yep.
Okay.
You
So
ever watched the Unsolved Mysteries, right? Back in the day.
years
You
ago,
remember
yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries? Yeah, okay. You remember how that glow was around the person they'd show in the ghost part?
Hmm.
It looked like that. The glow, it looked identical to that. That's the one thing I remember, and both times.
Huh. And was it the same with your parents? Was the lights off then too?
Yes.
And
Yep.
they were glowing?
There was a glow around them, like a glow. I mean, you could see them playing as day, but there was like, it's like in that Unsolved Mysteries, you know how that glow? It was identical, just like that.
Hmm.
It was neat.
That's pretty fascinating. Well, did you have any other experiences that you wanted to share?
Like, well, mainly since my mom has passed away, like I said, I experience more paranormal now than what I have before she died. But she always told me she'd be with me. And like sometimes I'll go to the cemetery and I'll hear a song when I'm leaving or something that they used to sing or something to me, and that's kind of cool. They'll play it. They'll like sing a song. They'll sing like "I love you" or something. It's kind of neat.
Hmm. Well, that's very fascinating. Well, Lisa, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do greatly appreciate you joining me and being my guest. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You have a good day, and I wish you the best.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.